Hello and welcome to the BattleFan Podcast, episode number 21. My name is Paul, no Jerry this week, so it'll be just me previewing the upcoming week 5 in the XFL, specifically the game, the Defenders versus the BattleHawks. That game will be this Sunday, March the 8th. It will be in DC at 2 o'clock Central. So if you're in the Central Time Zone, that's 2 o'clock. If you're on the East Coast, that'll be 3 o'clock. And if you need to watch that on TV, it's on FS1. So going into this game, the BattleHawks are 3.5-point favorites, which is an interesting line because DC, they're currently 2-2. We're 3-1. But they're 2-2. They got 2 wins. The first 2 games were wins, and those were at home. So they are 2-0 at home, and this is their third home game. And they are 0-2 on the road. So it's kind of hard to get a grasp on how Defenders are going to do on this game because they play well at home, but not on the road. But the last 2 games, if you're just going to go by what have you done for me lately, Defenders are coming off 2 really bad losses. Last week, they lost 25-0 against Tampa Bay. And the week before that, they lost 39-9 against LA. And Tampa Bay and LA are not the best teams in the XFL, and they lost pretty bad to them. So I feel pretty confident going against them. But then again, when they're at home, they played really well. They won 27-0 when they played New York at home, and they won the very first ever XFL game for the 2020 season. They won 31-19 against Seattle. So I'll be curious how they do. I mean, they played Seattle, New York, LA, and Tampa Bay. All 4 of those teams are the bottom 2 teams of their conferences, so they really haven't been tested yet. I think the BattleHawks can be a real good test for them. So I'm feeling pretty confident that the BattleHawks can win this game, but you never know with football. And like I've said before about the parity in this league, that you can't take any game for granted. You can't just move on to the next one. You have to take every opponent seriously. And we've done well on the road. We're 1-1 on the road, so I feel pretty confident that we can get the win this week. Looking at a couple stats, as far as our defense and their offense, they're a very middle-of-the-pack offense as far as yards and points. And BattleHawks are arguably the number 1 defense, especially when it comes to points allowed. When you're looking at yards and yards allowed, we're second. So we're definitely one of the top defensive teams. On the other side of the ball, the BattleHawks rush offense is currently second, and DC's rush defense is currently 7th. So I can see, I'm going to predict that we're going to have a lot of, the BattleHawks are going to be running it a lot because they're not the greatest when it comes to rush defense, and we have a good rushing game. So look for the BattleHawks to take advantage of that matchup there. So I guess if I have to put a prediction on it, I'm going to say that we're going to win. I think it's going to be closer than we'd like. I think it's going to be 24-21 BattleHawks win. So that's going to be my prediction there. So let's see some other things going on. I guess the other games, I'll just do my kind of quick predictions for the other games going on this weekend. You have Seattle playing at Houston. Houston's the favorite, 13.5-point favorites. I'm going to have to go with the 4-0 Houston Roughnecks to beat the Seattle Dragons. I think it's going to be hard to pick the Seattle on that one, so I'm going with Houston there. New York versus Dallas, so New York at Dallas. Both teams are 2-2. New York, they are 0-2 on the road, and Dallas is 0-2 at home. So hard to pick there, but I'm going to have to go with Dallas because I think Dallas do it for a win, and I think they're going to get their first home win here. And the other game, Tampa Bay is playing Los Angeles, and this is in Los Angeles. Both of these teams are 1-3, so I think it'll be a good matchup. LA is only a 1.5-point favorite, but I'm going to take the upset there, and I'm going to say Tampa Bay is going to win that game. So some quick news. The big news was Jordan Ta'amu is selected as Star of the Week for Week 4. This is the first time a non-Houston player has gotten the star of the week. So congratulations to our throwing Samoan, flying Hawaiian, JT Money himself, Jordan Ta'amu. Congratulations. And I guess this kind of made me think of something, that XFL really didn't go out and get stars for their league. You don't have a Johnny Manziel or a Tim Tebow, or I guess Landry Jones is probably the biggest star, and he's not even that big of a name. I think what they've done, and I think was smart on their part, is that they're making their own stars. And probably the two that come to mind is Jordan Ta'amu and PJ Walker. Like, those guys become the stars of the XFL, and it's really cool that they kind of made it themselves instead of spending money and trying to get stars. They just created their own. So that was pretty smart on XFL's part to do that, save some money, and just kind of let the chips fall where they may, and whoever just emerges as a star, like, just pump those guys up. And this Star of the Week thing is a good idea to kind of highlight these players that are stars. So good on the XFL for that. Next thing I want to talk about is the video that the XFL put out. It's on social media. It's like this little mini documentary. It's 8 minutes long. If you just kind of search for it online, I'm sure you'll find it if you haven't seen it already. But it was a really, really well done video. I think the XFL themselves are the ones who put this out. I think it's supposed to be kind of a little mini documentary series all about For the Love of Football. And this video is very fan-centered video. It had a little bit, even like the video that they showed wasn't very much of the team. It was more all about the city and all about the fans. And it really just kind of goes to show how fan-centered this league is. That's really neat to see. There's a lot of contrast between the XFL and the NFL as far as that. The way the NFL treated the city, and the way they kind of just had this attitude that they're bigger than the city, they're better than the city, that they don't need us. Versus the XFL, it's night and day, the difference between the two, and the way the XFL is uplifting the city and is appreciative of the city and trying to do the best to engage with the city. And putting out this video is just right in that vein right there. So thanks to the XFL for putting that video out. It really kind of highlighted how excited the fans are to have football back, and kind of talked about how the last 4 or 5 years have been, I guess the word they used was empty, and it has felt empty, like there's an empty part of our hearts. Something was missing in this town, that we're such a sports town, to not have football just didn't feel right. And now it's back, it feels right. So to go along on that kind of vein, the BattleHawks, for their next home game, which will be in 2 weeks against LA, they've decided to open up more of the upper deck. And that just went on. I'm recording this on Friday. They just released those tickets at 10 a.m. this morning. I went and checked around 11 o'clock, and all the $15 tickets for the upper bowl, they were all sold out already. And I think just recently they released more. They opened up more sections. They didn't open up the whole upper deck. They're just kind of releasing specific sections. Since those sold out so fast, they're opening up more sections. So I think as long as people keep buying them, they're going to keep opening up more sections. And I think the second round of sections, I checking the Ticketmaster right now, most of those are already gone. Those $15 tickets are almost gone already. And I guess they have the 300 level. So that's the 400 level is the $15. The 300 level, those are around $36. And there's still some of those left, but those are selling pretty well too. Looking on here, the only thing that's really not selling, which I brought this up last time, is the seats directly behind the visitors' bench. So I think they just overpriced those tickets. I think they need to lower the price of those or do something, because those tickets are having a hard time selling. But people who are just football fans that maybe they don't have a lot of extra spending money, but they love football and they're sports fans, they just want to get in the dome and they just want to be part of the experience. So I think that you're going to have no problem selling those $15 400 level tickets. So I think they're going to keep opening up sections. It's going to look really cool come I guess that's March 21st when that game is, when that entire dome is full. And I think that game is going to be on Fox. That's going to look really good on TV to see the dome that full. In a way, it's kind of the Kroenke sucks game in a way, because we'll be playing against LA, and that's when we lost the Rams, we lost them to LA. So even though the LA Wildcats have nothing to do with Stan Kroenke and nothing to do with the NFL, I guess they're kind of a stand-in for Mr. Kroenke and the LA Rams. So I know the fans are going to be cheering a little extra hard. I'm sure we're going to hear lots of Kroenke sucks chants during that game. So if you haven't got your tickets already, I think that is going to be an experience. If you haven't gotten tickets, when they open up a new section, make sure to get in there and get your tickets real fast. So kind of pay attention because you want to be there. This isn't a game you want to miss. I think that the home opener was a game you didn't want to miss, and I think this is the other one that you're not going to want to miss. So get your tickets. So we'll cut this episode short. I guess on socials, follow us on Facebook, search for the BattleFan Podcast. On Instagram, we're at XFL BattleFan. Twitter the same way, at XFL BattleFan. Follow us there. So I guess in a few days on Sunday, we'll probably have a reaction podcast afterwards. But until then, let's go BattleHawks!